He sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. You know, not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. Now I'm the one who has the power. Now I'm the one. Canelo said he doesn't fight. He fights for greatness. He fights for titles. Well, let me go pick up all the titles and let's come back into the table.
Welcome back to the channel. In a recent interview, David Benavidez spoke openly about his drive to prove his worth, explaining that he still has not received the kind of opportunities that truly match his ability. He shared that he has been in the sport for 11 years and believes his moment will arrive in time. He emphasized that he stays focused and motivated because he is confident he can reach the very top. He also made it clear that his passion for boxing has not faded and his determination remains as strong as ever.
I just want to tell everybody, if you guys doubt me in anything outside of the boxing, never doubt my character, never doubt my competitiveness. You know, I have the spirit of a warrior, and I'm, extremely excited to show you guys against all the best fighters in the world what I'm really made of, because this is what I'm here for. This is my destiny, and I'm not going to stop until that.
David Benavidez also made it clear that he is fully dedicated to reaching the highest level and believes nothing can block his path toward his ultimate goals. He said everyone understands that he is fearless, focused, and ready to face any opponent necessary to earn respect inside the ring. Speaking with strong confidence and relentless drive, he repeated that his aim is to stand among the very best in boxing, and that he is prepared to push through any challenge that stands in his way.
The good thing about me and David Benavidez's stock, we have a lot of great fights on the table. And you guys know I'm going to take every single one of them. I'm not going to run from anything because at the end of the day, this is my destiny. If it's my destiny to go through these hard fights and win these world titles, that's what I'm going to do. This is what boxing is about. I'm sick of seeing fighters getting the easiest fights just because they're getting the biggest paychecks. Like it don't. At the end of the day, it's not even about money. It's about giving the fans of boxing the fights that they deserve. They're paying the money at the end of the day, so let's go to war. Let's do what these people want to see us do, and let's go to war and make the best man.
In that same interview, David Benavidez reflected on how his dreams were planted early, saying that even as a young kid, he carried big ambitions and never stopped believing he was destined for greatness. He explained that he continues to grind every single day because he knows that real success comes from hard work and from beating elite opponents inside the ring, not just talking about it. Benavidez stressed that his main priority is staying disciplined, calm, and locked in on his craft rather than getting pulled into pointless back and forth conversations. For him, true greatness is measured by achievements, not noise. And he added that the day the entire boxing world recognizes and respects what he has accomplished will be the moment that truly feels like victory.
You're looking at a man that's not going to let anything outside the ring, mess with his game. Since I was 3 years old, I've had one dream only. That's becoming the greatest boxer of all time, and that's exactly what we're going to accomplish. We're almost there, and we're going to keep going until there's nobody left to say anything bad.
As the biggest headline of the day, David Benavidez didn't hold back, boldly claiming that Canelo Alvarez is afraid to step into the ring with him and has consistently avoided making the fight happen. He argued that the real reason behind that hesitation is Canelo's awareness of just how dangerous and skilled he is, suggesting that his size, power, and relentless pressure present problems. The Mexican star would struggle to control. Benavidez pointed to Canelo's bout with Dimitri Bivol as proof, highlighting how Canelo appeared uncomfortable against a naturally bigger and stronger opponent. He went on to say that while Canelo often looks dominant against smaller fighters, he becomes far more cautious when facing larger, more powerful men like himself, fearing the potential consequences that could come with that kind of challenge.
The way I've seen him handle my presence is he's definitely scared of me. If you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, and he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little.
Continuing his bold stance, David Benavidez admitted that earlier in his career, when he was still growing and finding his rhythm, Canelo Alvarez might have had the upper hand and possibly even beaten him. But he firmly believes that version of himself no longer exists. He said he has evolved into a completely different force in the sport, one that now represents a serious and dangerous obstacle for anyone in the division, according to Benavidez. Canelo understands the threat he brings, the size, the power, the sharpened skill set, and the relentless will. And that awareness alone makes the potential matchup far more complicated, confident in how far he has come. Benavidez declared that he is ready to prove himself on the biggest stage of all, insisting that his record already speaks to his quality, and that his ultimate mission is to elevate it even further by dominating every step of his journey to the top.
Should have took the fight with me way back then, because if he had a chance to beat me, it would have been back then. He has no chance of beating me now, especially now. I'm getting all this. I'm getting all this confidence. I'm stepping into my prime. I'm able to deal with these bigger shows better. I'm able to thrive in these shows. I'm able to. Every time I fight, I'm always winning by a significant amount. So I'm learning my craft better and better each and every single fight. I'm gaining more confidence every single fight, and like I said, I really want to go in there and hurt people. I'm not a boxer. I'm a warrior, and I go in there.
Furthermore, while reflecting on Canelo Alvarez's most recent loss to Terence Crawford, David Benavidez didn't hesitate to give credit where it was due, calling Crawford one of the greatest fighters the sport has ever seen and praising achievements that many boxers dream about but never come close to reaching. He described Crawford's performance in the ring as a complete masterclass, marked by control, precision, and undeniable dominance. Benavidez pointed out that Crawford faced serious challenges moving up in weight, yet handled the transition with incredible composure and determination. He emphasized that jumping 3 weight classes to defeat one of the best pound-for-pound fighters of this era was something few believed possible. But Crawford embraced the challenge, silenced the doubters, and secured a victory that further solidified his legacy as one of boxing's all-time greats.
First, I'd like to get your thoughts on Crawford's performance against Canelo, because he beat you to it. What do you think about how Crawford did?
First of all, I just want to give Terence Crawford a great congratulations. He's reached a part in history that only so many fighters get to even accomplish in boxing. He's one of the greatest.
Most importantly, even as David Benavidez keeps pushing for a showdown with Canelo Alvarez, veteran trainer Ronnie Shields has urged caution, advising that this may actually be the perfect moment for Canelo to consider walking away from the sport. Shields praised Canelo's career as nothing short of extraordinary, filled with major victories and defining moments that have already cemented his legacy in boxing. He stressed that Canelo has nothing left to prove to anyone and suggested it might be wiser for him to retire on his own terms rather than risk stepping into another dangerous fight that could tarnish the remarkable body of work he has built over the years.
It's over, it's over. And right now, I don't really and truly, I don't feel he should fight anymore. Look, he had one of the best careers any fighter could ever have. He's done everything he set out to do. What's next? To prove what? He has nothing to prove. He's already proved everything. And I think right now, the door is closed. He should shut it himself and say, you know what? I've had a great career. That's enough is enough.
So Benavidez fight doesn't catch your attention at this moment?
Looking back, Ronnie Shields had already predicted that Terence Crawford would defeat Canelo Alvarez even before they stepped into the ring. And after the fight, he stood firmly by his assessment. He explained that he always believed Crawford's speed and sharp reflexes would be too much for Canelo to deal with over the course of the bout. According to Shields, Crawford's unique stance, switch-hitting ability, and ring IQ were his most dangerous tools, allowing him to expose the gaps in Canelo's movement and timing. He highlighted how Bud executed a smart, disciplined game plan, strategically targeting weaknesses rather than chasing reckless exchanges in the end. Shields described the contest as a masterclass in skill, intelligence, and tactical precision, praising Crawford for delivering a performance that showcased the very highest level of boxing artistry.
I predicted Crawford by unanimous decision. He got that. And I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looked for one shot now. The end is there for Canelo. And I just think that Crawford was too fast for him, especially in the southpaw position. We all know Canelo had problems with the southpaw. So, and that's why I picked Crawford. I just thought Crawford could be too fast.
As the debate around his future intensified, Ronnie Shields urged Canelo Alvarez to retire, but Oscar De La Hoya pushed back, Insisting that the final decision should rest entirely in Canelo's hands, he explained that if Canelo feels ready to walk away, then he should do so on his own terms. But if he chooses to continue fighting, he must be extremely selective about his opponents at this stage of his career, reflecting on Canelo's recent clash with Terence Crawford. De La Hoya admitted that Crawford proved too sharp and too strong on the night, once again showing why he is considered one of the very best in the sport. He emphasized that Crawford's true brilliance lies in his ability to read different fighting styles, adapt in real time, and craft the perfect strategy to dismantle whoever stands across from him in the ring.
Crawford is older than Canelo, so we can't use the excuse that he's older, right? Can't use the excuse that, oh, well, he moved around too much. Well, it's your job to figure him out, right? Just like Chavez would figure out a fighter, just like I would figure out a fighter, just like any real great fighter can figure styles out. That's your job. I think Crawford did a tremendous job. Kudos to him. Sky's the limit for Crawford, and I really don't know where Canelo goes.
Furthermore, after reflecting on Canelo Alvarez's career, Oscar De La Hoya also shared his perspective on what lies ahead for Terence Crawford, noting that such a massive victory would only elevate Crawford's confidence and fuel his hunger for even greater challenges. He suggested that Crawford is unlikely to drop back down to 154 pounds, as he now appears more comfortable competing at 168, where he has proven he can handle elite opposition. However, De La Hoya added that if a truly significant opportunity presented itself at 160, Crawford might be willing to revisit that division for the right fight, looking toward potential matchups. He pointed to Virgil Ortiz Jr. as perhaps the most exciting and competitive option available right now, describing it as a thrilling showdown that could capture the attention of the entire boxing world.
What about Virgil and Crawford at 160? Imagine that. It would be incredible. So there's a good possibility that Crawford will stay at 168. Most likely go down to 160. I don't think he's going to touch 154. I think he'll stay at 160 eventually and try to find the biggest fights possible. And the biggest fight for him would be a Virgil.
Dan Rafael noted that the opening rounds of the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford were relatively competitive, but pointed out that Crawford not only structured the contest effectively, but ultimately controlled it and secured the win against Canelo. He praised Crawford's mental approach and fight vision both before and during the bout, describing them as exceptional and strategic. Many observers had previously doubted Crawford because of Canelo's size and experience advantages, yet Rafael emphasized that Crawford's disciplined focus and determination were the deciding factors that led to a deserved victory on fight night.
But he did a great job. I thought it was close. I had Canelo ahead in the early going, but I thought Crawford did an amazing job closing that fight down in the last few rounds, where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance, and what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him and said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that. But he showed his great.
Furthermore, Dan Rafael stated that although a rematch between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford would certainly be exciting, it may not be the ideal path for either competitor at this point in their careers. He suggested that both fighters should explore other major opportunities rather than rushing back into the same matchup, advising Canelo to weigh the advantages and disadvantages of his next move with great care. Rafael also pointed out that Crawford's victory over Canelo has significantly boosted his reputation, and that many top-level fighters may now be willing to challenge him. However, he emphasized that Crawford must strategically evaluate future options, including weight class considerations, the significance of potential fights, and championship possibilities before deciding on his next opponent.
Canelo had won, the winner of Eubank, and then the Hamza Shiraz. I mean, those types of names. He's got mandatories. Mabili got the draw tonight in a great fight. There's other fighters that have belts and interim belts and blah, blah, blah. So, nobody's going to rush Terence Crawford into his next fight. He'll take his time, and whatever the next fight is, it's going to be a big one because, his name is even greater now than what happened going into this fight for him. So he beats Canelo Alvarez, it becomes a much bigger.
Everyone agrees that Canelo Alvarez has enjoyed an outstanding career, highlighting one of the most impressive resumes in modern boxing. He captured world titles across 4 weight divisions, rising from a promising young fighter in Mexico to a global superstar, defeating elite opponents such as Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, and Sergey Kovalev. His victories showcased not only powerful counterpunching, but also the ability to adapt to different styles and strategies, proving he could deliver on the biggest stages and become one of boxing's most marketable and respected champions. Now let us consider how Shane Mosley, a fighter admired for his skill, discipline, and relentless pursuit of greatness, viewed his experience against Canelo and what insights it provides about Alvarez's legacy in the sport.
The young kid, I think he was 21, 22 years old, he had a lot of experience, I should say. He had a lot of boxing experience at his age.
40, 50 fights?
Huh?
He had 40 or 50 fights at that point, right?
40, 50 fights, but not just that. I'm talking about experience as far as knowledge about being the real, experience. Like veteran experience. Like he knew how to counter, he knew how to block and counter, do different things. So it wasn't like he was just an ordinary fighter. And I was like, and fighting him, I'm like, wow. He actually knows how to get away from stuff. He knows how to counter. He knows how to trick shots up. And so he knows.
Furthermore, the bouts between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin remain among his most defining achievements, as both fights were highly competitive and demonstrated his ability to succeed in difficult contests. He also secured his place in history by becoming the undisputed super middleweight champion, defeating Caleb Plant and unifying all major titles. At that weight beyond championship belts, Canelo has repeatedly taken on dangerous challenges across multiple divisions, showing a willingness to risk everything in pursuit of greatness. His career reflects longevity, technical skill, and the fighting spirit associated with Mexico's boxing tradition, qualities that have made him one of the most recognizable fighters of his era. When Terence Crawford defeated Canelo and subsequently returned the titles, it highlighted the mutual respect that exists among elite competitors. On the other hand, David Benavidez has established himself as a dominant super middleweight with an undefeated record and a reputation for pressure fighting and power. At just 20 years old, he became the youngest fighter to win the WBC championship twice and has scored notable victories over opponents such as Anthony Dirrell, David Lemieux, and Caleb Plant. His career continues to grow, and many observers view him as a potential future leader of the 168-pound division. Now let us examine how he responded after his victory over Anthony Dirrell.
Yeah.